Well, good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday evening, December 10th, 2025, and decided to do another episode of Let's Discuss Weather. My name is Wayne Albright, and this will be a weather briefing for the next few days into next week. Sorry I haven't been available for the last week or so, a little bit more than that. Been out of town and been distracted, and I'm finally getting a chance to get back into the swing of things and look at the weather a little more seriously. So I thought I'd take advantage of it this evening and point out what's going on. While it might seem like a rather mundane pattern coming up into next week, there are some interesting things that will unfold. It has been a very cold start to the month of December across the eastern part of the United States, especially the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic into the Northeast. And there's even some more cold weather coming as we end this week and into the start of next week. But there are signs of some changes, and I will point those out as we go forward. So let's go to what's happening right now. We have a cold front coming through across the mountains. A little bit of showers, snow showers in the higher terrain. That was a larger area during the day today, and it has been gradually diminishing as it crosses the mountains, but there are some sprinkles on the down toward the I-95 corridor. In fact, I let the dogs out and they came in a little wet, so there are a few sprinkles out there east of the mountains all the way up into southern Pennsylvania and down into northern North Carolina. But the main action is back in the mountains, and even snow showers in the much colder air back in the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes, and pretty good area of some snow toward the Laurel Highlands, western Pennsylvania, in that area, which is not too uncommon this time of year. So let's go to a closer look and see what's going on. We have widespread 40s and some upper 30s, mid to upper 30s up in Pennsylvania, and generally lower 40s, Maryland into central Virginia, and then mid 40s farther to the south. And there's some 50s down here in South Carolina ahead of this cold front that is coming. Southwest winds today, and some cloudiness across this area during the daytime, but you can see that the winds shift to the west with the cold front, or right behind it, and then there's a secondary push out here, somewhere in that area, with even colder air, and that will be coming through later tonight and Thursday morning. Gusty winds back here portend to probably a breezier day during the day on Thursday, as it will be colder than it was today in most places. But there shouldn't be too much precipitation. I suspect there'll be the usual snow showers up here in Pennsylvania and maybe in western Maryland, places like that, variable cloudiness. But the rest of the area should be partly to mostly sunny during the day on Thursday. So that's the outlook during the day Thursday, colder, and then we set up into the weekend. But I do want to highlight what's going on in the weather pattern. And we can look at the European ensembles to see what is happening, or what has been happening. We've been locked in this west-northwesterly flow. There's been a little bit of energy from the Pacific coming by way of Baja, northern Mexico, and that's been contributing some moisture. There was an upper level low in that area for about a week or so, and it's been contributing some southern stream moisture. We had a little touch of that earlier this week as a northern system came through and combined with the two and drug some moisture into the mid-Atlantic, where snow fell in uncommon areas of Virginia. Widespread 3 to 7 inches of snow even on the coast, or in central Virginia and the Piedmont, and some snow even fell to the coast. The warmer or milder weather quote unquote, today has eliminated a lot of that away from the higher terrain. But you can see the northwest flow, west-northwest flow, has been dominant. Cold air has been locked in western Canada, and little series of systems have been coming in that northwest flow. There has been some cross-polar flow here that has brought some cold air across the Bering Sea and into Alaska, and western Canada has been building up cold air, and pieces of that continue to come down, and there'll be a bigger piece as we head into the weekend and earlier next week. But there are signs of changes in the overall weather pattern, and we can see them in the ensembles. The weakening of the block in the vicinity of Greenland is one change. That's the NAO portion of it. And a negative NAO is the high pressure system up here. So it sets up a block, forces the jet south, and usually leads to colder weather in the eastern part of the United States in the wintertime. And the breakdown after Thursday into Friday of the high pressure in the vicinity or west of Alaska that has been contributing cold air into western Canada looks to be breaking down as we go into the weekend and early next week, and that signals that the cold air will not be as sufficient up there, and there will be a increasing of the Pacific jet toward the west coast, and that will sort of flood the United States with milder weather or milder air next week into portions of Christmas week. So there are subtle changes out there as we go forward, and they will become significant changes as the colder pattern from the northern plains to the east coast will gradually give way, and a milder pattern will set up as we head into the week of Christmas. As you can see, look at all that jet energy right here into the west coast and building ridge coming to the east. This is by next Saturday, and a consolidation of the polar vortex near Hudson Bay where it should be, and the block is going up here, and the cold air, instead of being channeled toward the central part of Canada into the eastern part of the United States, is now channeled from Alaska down into the northeast Pacific in the Gulf of Alaska. And that lasts as a trough heads to the west coast Christmas week, and ridging develops across portions of the southeast into the mid-Atlantic portions of the eastern part of the United States. So a milder pattern is coming. You can see that, or we can see that, on the daily temperatures. There's a shot of cold air coming. This is today, lingering chill, but it turned milder this afternoon. And another shot is coming for Thursday, stays Friday, gets relieved a little bit on Saturday, and then another bigger blast comes on Sunday as an Arctic front crosses the mid-Atlantic and northeast, sets up a cold start to next week, and then the flooding of the warmer air takes over the middle of next week toward next weekend and into Christmas week. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be a system or two that clips the Great Lakes, mid-Atlantic, northeast later next week into the weekend, but overall the pattern turns milder for a period of time. We can see some of that. I use the MJO, and the MJO, while it went through phase 7 and 8, which are cold, and we can see that by this, 7 really cold, and 8, we've been in 8 for a while, and that's most of December, or all of December, have been in 7 and 8, and that has led to the cold start. So, but it has dissipated, and then the pattern is corresponding or responding to that and changing over time. Now, where does it head? The models, most of the models take it and meander it in the null zone, so it's difficult to say that it has much influence on the overall pattern. The NAO goes positive for a period of time, or neutral to positive, and the PNA, Pacific North American pattern, goes negative, which features zonal flow. So you have all these indicators that support the milder weather coming. The question is, does it last that long? and that's something down the road. The MJO forecast from American Model is showing the next surge of the MJO by the end of the month and into the early part of the new year, into phase 1 and 2, and maybe 3. So we'll see if that continues to advance as we head into January. As we head into January, if you want milder weather, you want to be toward phase 4, 5, and 6. Colder weather is featured in phase 8, 1, and 2. So how does this pattern evolve as into the new year is still in question. One of the most extreme examples of a winter breaking was 1989 in December, how cold it was in the eastern part and central part of the United States. And it turned quickly into a warmer pattern in January. Will that happen again? That is undetermined, but there are signs of some changes in that period toward the new year. It's just trying to gather what they will be. Will we go back to the colder pattern of early December, or will we be in a medium pattern, mediocre, it's more normal, or will we go to the extreme on the warm side? Right now that's a little difficult to tell, as like I said, there is a surge forecast. Now this is a forecast. The MJO forecast is a difficult one, but it is hinting at a surge 1, 2, and maybe into 3 early in the new year. And does that continue to progress to the east across the area out there, Southeast Asia, and in that region, Indonesia, which would favor 4, 5, and 6, and that would be warmer. So does it get hung up or does it not? That will be a key point. And we're still in a La Nina, which favors a southeast ridge overall and colder weather in Canada and in the plains and into the plains. So, but that El Nino is destined to weaken, and it already has started doing that as we head through the winter. And it will have ramifications as well. So let's dig in a little deeper to what is actually going to happen here. We will start with Thursday. The weather is not too bad. It's a little crisp, it's a little chilly, but it should be dry, except for some snow showers up to the north in Pennsylvania, especially in the mountains down in the West Virginia. The rest of the area should be a dry day. And we head into Thursday night into Friday. There is some issue with a little system that clips or starts bringing some moisture through the Ohio Valley, and that progresses to the east and brings increasing cloudiness Thursday night, and possibly a period of or a touch of light snow to the east of the mountains on late Thursday night into Friday morning. Doesn't look all that significant, but a coating could certainly happen. Central Virginia up into Maryland. Some models are farther north with it, into southern Pennsylvania. Other models are a little farther to the south and consolidating into southern Virginia and southwest Virginia. So, but increasing cloudiness, a little bit of snow or snow showers on a Friday into the midday hours, and then that gradually dissipates as we head into Saturday, with high pressure returning on Saturday. Now the question on Sunday, as we head to Sunday, is an Arctic front that will be coming from the northwest, and we can start seeing it on this map here. And there will be consequences to this cold front, and we can see that we compare the models here for late Saturday nights and into Sunday. Here's the American model, which develops an area of snow, DC generally on northeast, late Sunday night late Saturday night into Sunday morning. And as the cold front drifts south, some of that snow heads into eastern and central Virginia. The European is more of a low pressure system off the coast, generally farther northeast with its potential snow. As you can see, it develops an area of snow near DC and then progresses it up toward Philadelphia and New York. So the European has a little mini snowstorm up in that area as the colder air arrives and low pressure develops offshore. That scenario is certainly feasible. I've seen it many times with colder air coming in, and all it takes is a little low to form out over the ocean, and it creates a little bit of a problem. But if that were to happen, it looks like the models are favoring northern Virginia or near D.C. up to New York and into southern New England. So something to watch as we go into Sunday for that potential. Otherwise, scattered snow showers will accompany the cold front during the day on Sunday with falling or steady or falling temperatures in the afternoon. So what might start out as not too bad in temperatures especially in southern and southeast Virginia up into the coastal plain of Maryland and places like that, it will turn colder by later in the day as the cold front comes through. And that sets up a very cold day on Monday. There will be gusty winds out of the north-northwest Sunday night, ushering in that cold air, and the cold air will be in full form on Monday with high pressure to the west of the mountains, and it's going to be cold during that day. Let's see what the temperature is on Monday around lunchtime. And the models have temperatures only in the 20s in a large portion of the area, and probably no higher than the mid-30s in the south during the day on Monday, with wind chills down in the teens and 20s. So it's going to be a pretty cold day on Monday for this time of year. More suited for January than December. So this might be the coldest shot of all the cold weather we've had so far this month on Monday. And then that quickly moves away. I mean, it's not going to lock in as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. As the high drifts over, winds weaken by Tuesday afternoon, and it does start to moderate a little bit into Wednesday. So the gist of the story here is we have a couple cold shots coming, and then a trend toward a little bit milder weather, definitely by the middle of next week into portions of the Christmas week. But a lot of clouds are going to be around too. We don't usually have sunny, warm weather in December in many areas. So with milder weather will probably come cloudiness and even rain chances, but they'll be minimal. It looks like toward the end of next week into next weekend. So, and here's the temperatures departures. So we go from this on Monday. That's Monday afternoon. 15 solid, 10 to 15 degrees below normal in the afternoon to, all right, where is it? To only about 5 to 10 below normal on Tuesday. So there is some moderation on Tuesday, and then by Wednesday we're looking at even better, closer to normal by Wednesday as milder air comes, and we can go even farther than that in Thursday and Friday with temperatures at or above normal, except maybe in the far north where it gets back to normal. So that's the story going ahead. There are, like I said at the beginning, there may not seem to be a lot of weather that's going to happen if you're just counting on precipitation and a big storm or something like that. But there are some changes on the way that should be paid attention to going forward. So let's do the recap here. I don't want to keep this too long. Let's go to the recap, and let me go back to my screen. Okay, for the day on Thursday, variable clouds, partly cloudy north and mostly sunny in the south. and there could be some isolated snow showers up across Pennsylvania, especially the higher terrain into West Virginia during the day. Temperatures below normal, upper 20s, mid 30s in the north, upper 30s to mid 40s in the south. Increasing cloudiness on Thursday night and into Friday, a touch of light snow or flurries. Late Thursday night. I should have put late Thursday night here. Let me put that in there. Thursday night through midday Friday, and that's specifically centered for Central Virginia and Maryland, back toward the mountains. And there could be a slight accumulation, dusting or so, away from the mountains. And highs in the upper 20s to mid 30s north, upper 30s to upper 40s in the far south. And it clears out a little bit late Friday night, gets cold, and then Saturday becomes cloudy again. And highs in the mid 30s to mid 40s. And we have to watch for Sunday with that Arctic front coming and a possible low just off the coast, whether it enhances any precipitation along that front, especially from D.C. on northeast into southern New England, is still a question. There are signs that does happen, and how does that turn out? I think farther south, from Richmond on south, there could be some scattered snow showers as the colder air comes in, and it turns colder in the afternoon and evening into the night for everyone as the gusty north-northwest winds usher in that cold air to start next week, so that by Monday it's very cold. It'll be gusty winds, highest probably in the north and near the coast. And it'll be mostly cloudy in the north with the typical isolated to scattered snow showers. And across the south, I'd say from D.C. south or Fredericksburg, Virginia south, it'll be partly sunny and wind chills in the teens in the north, 20s in the south, and highs only in the 20s across Pennsylvania and Maryland, and in the 30s, Virginia into North Carolina. Tuesday, partly cloudy. It'll be cold to start. Temperatures down in the teens and 20s. And it will moderate a little bit closer to normal, but it won't warm up at much. It'll probably be, a good 5 to 8 degrees higher on Tuesday with regard to temperatures. And Wednesday looks to be mostly cloudy to partly cloudy, and highs back closer to normal from the 30s north and the 40s south. And like I mentioned before, it does look like there's a break in the overall cold pattern we've had this month. Late next week into Christmas week, how Christmas will turn out is still in question, but I'd say the snow chances across most of this region from Pennsylvania and southern Pennsylvania into North Carolina are not looking that high, but certainly things could change. But the overall pattern looks like it's changing toward a break in the cold pattern. And rain chances, yeah, I said rain. I know there's been quite a bit of snow in some places. There's been sort of a no zone or not much zone from northern Virginia into Maryland and up to New York City. But that may change a little bit on Sunday. But we've certainly had enough here in central and southern Virginia, at least in my opinion, this early in the season. So, but next chance of rain next week, maybe by Friday, and then again sometime during Christmas week. So that's it. I'd keep an eye on Sunday. There's still some question about that. And I'd bundle up as cold air, and I think it might be the coldest air of this month so far, comes on late Sunday into Monday. So that's about it. I will continue to watch this and see how this evolves over the weekend. Hopefully there won't be any further distractions and things going on. But we'll see. And like I said, that's it for this evening. And I want everybody to stay safe and stay warm. And I'll talk to you later.